Hello everyone and welcome to Helix Plays Games. My name is Richie and joining me this week, as always, is at Cyberchris 2077, Mr. Chris.
Hello everyone.
How are you, Chris? How are you?
I am slightly hungover, I feel. More so now I've woken up a bit more. I felt like initially it was just tiredness, but now I feel like it might just be
the hangover. You've settled into your hangover.
Yeah, in an unfortunate way. I need to have some proper food as well to kickstart my day off. But yes, far too many beers celebrating my last time drinking before parenthood. So
it was also your brother's 30th birthday, wasn't it?
It was as well. So two good reasons to have a good drink. I didn't go too crazy, but I think maybe.
And just so people are aware, we're recording this at 2:30 in the afternoon, so it's not like I've just dragged him out of bed to record it. He's been up for several hours. We've already done a podcast today. We have,
but sometimes they catch up on you. Sometimes they just catch up on you.
No Rob this week. He is bogged down with work. He hopes to be back next week. So we wish him all the best.
He better be back next week.
Yeah. Because
otherwise
it's going to be me doing solo podcast, me monologuing for an hour. And no one wants to see that. But
that's harsher than a Wo Long Fallen Dynasty boss fight, that is.
Indeed. Talking about Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, we've got some great shows lined up for you this week where we will be giving out first impressions of Wo Long. Minecraft has had a world editor leaked, and do you like toast? All that and much, much more on this week's XPass. Before we get into it, make sure if you haven't already, like the video and subscribe to the channel or your podcast feed of choice with notifications turned on, so you're kept in the loop here with all our great content at Helix Plays Games, such as Chris's first look at Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, which we'll talk about in just a minute. Our other great shows, such as Talking the PS every single Tuesday. We talk about everything on the PlayStation side of gaming. We follow that on Tuesday evening at 8 PM GMT, where we go live with the Clickercast, breaking down HBO's The Last of Us. Penultimate episode this week, so we're about to get into the business end of the series. Shit's about to go down. Looking forward to that one. I haven't watched it yet at the time of recording, so...
It'll be great anyway.
Yeah, it's going to be great. It's been great so far. And also our Thursday night live streams and everything else that we do. But before I go into it, Chris, I have a new phone.
You have a new phone?
I have a new phone. You thought I was going to ask you what you've been playing, but no.
I was ready to jump into it.
The bait and switch. So I broke my old phone. It's just... Audio listeners, it's just cracked to hell. No, I dropped it. I dropped it weeks ago. But then I was it's screen's cracked, but it was still usable. But then I actually cut myself on the broken glass of my phone.
That's maybe a sign.
Yeah, I took that as a sign. I was thinking, because the Pixel 7a is rumoured to be getting announced soon. It's do I just try and hold off for a couple of months? Because other than cracked screen, it was fine. But I was nah, this is dangerous. So I bought myself a Pixel 6a.
Congratulations. Enjoying it so far?
It's exactly the same as my old phone.
Did you have any reservations committing to a Google piece of hardware after the failure of Stadia this time around?
No, because I've had a Pixel 4 XL for about 3.5 years, maybe coming up to 4 years, and the phones are fine. I've my Pixel Buds Airs are fine. Mm-hmm. Google make good products. They just didn't know how to make a gaming system. They knew how to make a gaming system. They didn't know how to sell it. Mm-hmm. So I had no issues, but you've bought a new phone before in your life. It's kind of boring now.
They're just colourful rectangles that do colourful things slightly better than the last version of colourful rectangles, yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed just by, when you used to get your new phone, this is a very expensive new piece of tech, and you spend a couple of hours playing around setting it up. Mm-hmm. Spot the difference. Apart from the cracks on the screen, could you tell which one's which?
No, not really. Not without closer inspection.
They're basically the same size as well. It took after about 10 minutes. I was like, okay, all my stuff's over here. Now it's just back into just using it as I have day to day.
Yeah, I'm getting most likely the Samsung S23 Ultra in June. I think my upgrade's due in June. And the most thing I'm excited for is it comes with a built-in stylus pen. So it's the same size and shape and UI as I've got on my current one, but it comes with a little stylus pen. So when I'm sat there taking my notes, do my little scribbles, editing the podcast show notes, I can do it a bit quicker and with more accuracy, I guess.
Yeah, I have a remarkable e-paper kind of thing at work for note taking, like a digital notepad, which are way overpriced in my opinion for what they do, but it's pretty cool, and I didn't pay for it, so
isn't all technology.
Yeah. So Chris, what have you been playing this week?
Oh, Richie. To start off with, I've been chipping away at Hogwarts Legacy still. I'm enjoying my time with it. I'm not rushing it. I've of course got big personal family things on the way in the coming days, in fact, for me to deal with this Friday, so I'm kind of not really trying to rush to platinum this game or finish it or anything like that. I'm just going to make my way leisurely through Hogsmeade and Hogwarts and help out the Wizarding World in any way, shape or form that I can. Game's still great, thoroughly enjoying it. However, this week I was tempted, of course, by new game that dropped on Friday, this past Friday, which was the Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Yeah, from Koei Tecmo and Team Ninja of Neo fame and Dynasty Warriors fame. And we mentioned on last week's show, this is like kind of right up mine and Rob's street. We're both massive Dynasty Warriors fans. We've played all games from, I think 2 was the first one I played, all the way through to 9. I've dabbled in the Dynasty Warriors Empires, the Kessen games. Me and my brother especially. I got my brother Wo Long Fallen Dynasty for his birthday, and specifically said when I gave him it, I'd already done my first look, and I was like, it's tough. Be ready for it. It's tough, and yeah, it's obviously reviewing well out there. We'll talk about that as part of the news. But I've put about 3 hours into it now. About an hour and a half for the first look. I went back to it to see if I could take out the big bad, but the general consensus is, Richie, that this game is tough, and I don't know if I have it in me to beat this first boss, which is you get to the first boss after about 20 minutes or so into the game. So it was 20 minutes of steady progress, leveling up, killing bad guys, learning the tutorial moves. And then I've hit this big wall that's known as Zhang Liang, and I can't get past the bastard. No matter evidently how much I try, I put about 2 hours into nearly killing him now, and I just... Yeah,
we'll talk a bit more about that in the news section. But, I mean, this week we completed Halo. We rolled credits.
We did.
Halo.
We did. We wanted to get that out the way before my firstborn was due this week, so it was very timely actually. When we started the playthrough, I don't think we anticipated really the time frame for how long it was going to take, but we did it. We rode that warthog to victory at the end. Did we hit some frustrations? Absolutely. Did the game design and the age of the game maybe catch up with us a little bit near the end? Absolutely.
I had some tech issues as well at the start of the stream. It was just generally a bit more of a frustrating stream. Like, we talked about it during like the live stream, but what are kind of your impressions now we've completed a Halo game?
Well, yes, so that was the reason we did it, is again, running an Xbox podcast every week, is we felt we owed it to the Xbox community and the legacy of Microsoft to go back and play Halo. So we started at the very beginning. I know some people said go and play other ones like prequels, but we thought, no, we'll start right at the chronological order with Combat Evolved. And it took us about 9 hours, I'd say, overall, across four separate streams. They're all available on the channel to go check out, and I had a great time with it. Thoroughly enjoyed it. We said, I think, off the back of the GoldenEye going on a Game Pass, we had kind of an urge to explore different things. Not that it's the same as GoldenEye, but it's again of a certain era with there's no sprint. The button configuration is slightly different. The aim mechanics are slightly old school, and the game in its own right is slightly old school. There's very little story, very little cinematics. It's very much here's a level. You play through it, here's another level, and then we found, Richie, very quickly that halfway through the game, it basically flips you, and you regress back through the exact same first 5 levels in reverse order.
Pretty much, yeah.
almost beat for beat with a couple of different enemy varieties. Enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I think a couple of critiques, which a lot of people in the chat when we were live said that the sequels do improve on. I think a couple more weapon variety, enemy variety, and level variety was what you would expect from a sequel, just taking everything up to that next level. But overall, had a great time. I understand the world a bit more. I understand why this game back in the day did so well. And taking the mechanics of the game into a multiplayer, I can totally see why the multiplayer in Halo, especially Halo 2, took off to new heights with just like co-op and playing with each other. Great time.
Yeah, even like looking at it from like a modern point of view, you can kind of see there's enough there in that first game to go, right, we're onto something here. Bungie back in the day, we definitely, I mean, the way history shaped out, Bungie very much were onto something with Halo.
Just a bit.
But yeah, and I think when you mentioned GoldenEye, I think that's kind of, we had our expectations set right. We knew we were playing an older game. We were playing one of the most important games of all time, basically, arguably.
Yeah.
I don't think that is overselling Halo, because what Halo did, especially with online multiplayer, is does Call of Duty Warzone exist without Halo?
Probably not.
Like, the world might have went a completely different way, but yeah, I think because we knew that, all the little bugbears we have, like the weird control scheme at times, the like a sprint, the lack of aim down sights, and so all that kind of stuff. It's like, it's fine, because I'm expecting some like older design decisions to be in there. Even like the reused environments and stuff is like, well, you had more limited resources. Yeah, you've just all that sort of stuff. It's like, okay, I can just look beyond that because it is an older title. Stuff that would be highly critical if they did it now.
And we did have, of course, we played it via the Master Chief Collection, so we had the up-res textures and weapons and stuff as well. So we were playing essentially the best form of the game by modern day standards, so that did help a lot. We did ping back and forth a few times between the old and the new graphics, which you can just toggle on and off using a button on the controller. Yeah. And to have that comparison in some moments was like, oh wow, they put some effort into upscaling this a little bit, to its credit.
They retextured basically everything in the world. Like, it's not just, okay, it's now a 1080p 16:9. Like, because they originally might have even been by 4:3. Like, I don't know.
Possibly.
But they have put a bit more into it. It still even if the newer graphics still looks like an older game. But I think that adds to the charm a bit. Like, I'm not sure this is a game that would need a remake, to be honest.
No, not unless you're going to totally do it from the ground up and maybe like expand the story, the characters, and definitely some of the levels would need to be tweaked from a modern sensibility standpoint. You couldn't just have like, there was a couple of points where we got quite frustrated where repetition set in and you were doing things like 3, 4, 5 times over, and it did start to feel like, okay, come on, move on a little bit, let's get past this. And they would need to definitely change that, because I think on a modern audience you would lose them, the patience would be lost. Like
in the library there seemed to be like 3 kind of like rooms that you just loop through.
But overall, I like Master Chief, I like Cortana, I enjoyed it, even the 343 little annoying cube, and the driving mechanics of the Warthog. Like, you got a much better grasp than I did, but we still struggled near the end. That kind of final home sprint was rough.
There's just too much shit in the way. Like, it just kept crashing. It's like, this is meant to be like an epic drive to victory, and it's just like, I spent half the time reflipping off Warthog and climbing back in. I got good at doing that though, getting a flip and get back in, get going straight away.
Until you left me behind on one of the runs.
The fact that there was more than one run kind of sums up like the epic finale there.
But we definitely recommend, I think, everyone go check it out. If you're a Halo fan, you're a fan of multiplayers or shooters or something, you've never even played it before, like, you can experience it through our eyes as people who've never played Halo. And I think there's definitely remit in the future for jumping into the second one. I've definitely got a hunger to keep playing this franchise and see. I'm more just curious to see how it actually evolves and we get to Infinite where we are today.
Indeed, I think that's always been part of the plan. We want to slowly play through all like the core Xbox franchises, but we'll be taking a bit of break from Halo. We're not going to go straight to Halo 2. One, because you're having a child, I kind of want to wait for you to be back regularly to commit our time to it. And 2, we like to change things up from time to time, so I'm not sure what I'm going to be playing this week. I need to talk to Rob, see if he's available, etc., etc. before making a decision, but it could be Elden Ring. I could finally be jumping into Elden Ring. I think, as it stands, it's either this week's stream will either be something multiplayer if Rob's available, or my first look at Elden Ring.
Ooh, tantalising.
Indeed. Other than that, I've largely just been playing Hogwarts Legacy. But Chris, would you like to introduce us to
the excellently exuberant, excavated Xbox expose, aka the news?
The news. And as always, our news is brought to you by our Helix Heroes, which you can become for as little as 99p. All the information you need is in the comments below. Thank you very much to our heroes. You guys are awesome. First story of the week. Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. Chris, how frustrated are you about this game?
I'm bitterly frustrated because I'm enjoying it. I'm enjoying playing the game. It's just the same things that prevent me from really enjoying a Soulsborne game. Bloodborne, Souls, Dark Souls, Sekiro, Elden Ring, is the difficulty, the grind of get good. I understand the mechanics are there for a reason. I understand parrying. But my word, from an entry point into a brand new game, there's a few times during the first look, I'm just... You'll be able to tell when you watch it. And Richie, you know what it's like when games get frustrating.
Oh, God, yeah.
In my mind, I'm just saying, like, why is it so fucking hard? Like, just take it down a notch just so I can enjoy it, because I know there's some sadistic enjoyment in having your ass handed to you time and time again.
It's
and
overcoming that adversity. When you overcome, like, a really difficult boss, you do get that sense of, oh, thank God, I finally managed that. Like, that sense of achievement.
Yeah, and that's all the more heightened because you've had to work for it. Like, when I finally defeat this boss, it's going to be like, the elation is, oh, yes, finally, yes, F you, I did it, I kicked your ass after 100 attempts. But, yeah, the game starts off, again, it's everything I expected. It's set in the Romance of the Three Kingdoms era of Chinese history, and the Han Dynasty is on its way out. There's a Yellow Turban Rebellion. So anyone who's played the Dynasty Warriors games like me and Rob have, you know what this is all about. Zhang Liao is the crazy magician guy who wants to kind of overthrow the imperial dynasty that's set there. And all of these three families come together to basically team up and take down this Yellow Turban Rebellion and reinstall some kind of empire. The problem is they all end up fighting between the three different families, essentially, and vying for who is going to be the future empire, the leaders, essentially. I haven't got to that part yet because I can't get past this damn first boss. And I just want to point out, in Dynasty Warriors, Zhang Liang is literally just a sub-boss who you fight. I've killed this guy in several games, several times, very, very easily, because it's the first level in every game. I can't get past the first level in Wo Long Fallen Dynasty because I can't parry for shit. He's way too tough. And spoilers for the first look, because I kind of have to get into it, Richie, to share my frustrations, is I started to nail the parries. I started to get confident. I killed him. Hands went in the air. Done. He's got a second phase.
Too.
Health bar back to full. Again, the difference with Wo Long is there's a mythical element to it. There's a thing called the elixir, which means these enemies there's like the zombie creatures. It's basically Chinese history, but with some alternate history, mythical lore where there's monsters and creatures that don't
folklore into it.
Absolutely. And I fought a giant cat dog thing, avoided it the first time. Everyone in the comments said, go back, kill the cat dog thing. It'll power you up, then you'll go into the boss fight even stronger. I went and did all that, Richie. I went and leveled up. I went and ground out my morale level higher. I went and got better equipment, better loot, came back to Zhang Liang, and he's still handing me my ass several times over. So I'm able to get to the second phase, but when I reach the second phase, I've got like half a health bar, no health potions left. He's got a big mutant arm, like, what's his name from Resident Evil 3? I can't, who's the Resident Evil 3 bad guy? The big mutant transformed one. Nemesis, yeah, he's kind of got this big mutant... It might not be Nemesis. He's got this big mutant arm. He's raging, roiding out on me. And every time I get there, I'm just like, I'm that exhausted from taking down the first phase. It's just, I don't know what to do. Like, I can't get the confidence to do it. And I went back, I put another hour into it, chipped away with all my new weapons and armor, and I thought, oh, I've got this. And I'm just being beaten down to a point where I'm like, time out, I have to quit, I have to leave this and come back with fresh eyes. But yeah, about 2 hours, I'd say I've tried to beat this guy now. And everyone in the comments on the internet is saying, if you can get past the first boss, the game opens up, and you can go grind, and the second and third bosses aren't as hard. But from a video game standpoint, and I say it in my first look, it's like if I bought this game for £50, if it wasn't on Game Pass, I'd be getting more frustrated at that. I feel like I'm not getting my money's worth because I cannot physically, with the skill and ability that I hold as a 33-year-old man, and the time I have in my life to dedicate to gaming, I can't sit here and just grind the same scene over and over and over again, and the fun starts to get sucked out of it. But because I am enjoying the story and the gameplay is fun, I want to keep going. And I don't know if this is the Sado it's like element of the game, why people love it. People like getting injured.
The first boss is so difficult because it's the first boss. The fact that you haven't been through this before, you still learn the mechanics. Where you think by the time you get to maybe a second, third, fourth boss, the basic mechanics and how to play the game you've kind of nailed, and then it comes down to like learning. I think the Soulsborne style of boss fights, where it's like first few tries are more about learning the attack patterns and coming up with your strategy, and then it becomes about the execution of it, and then you get blindsided by phase 2 and have to repeat the whole thing again. That is that is the gameplay loop. You are expected to die, you are expected to fail until you learn the attack patterns. Okay, well, he does this, I can't parry this, I have to dodge, and then I'll dodge, and then's my opportunity to counter and stuff. But because you're still coming to terms with the basic mechanics.
Yeah, it's teaching you the parry mechanics. I completely understand that. My problem is 3 decades of being conditioned as a video gamer. When I'm getting stressed or when I'm trying to beat a boss and I can see the health bar ticking down, I can see the stamina and momentum switching in the fight, my brain defaults to just mash square, mash X. And then the whole parry defend, it goes out of my mind, because for years I just play third person action games like God of War, where if I get hit I can take a hit, and I just keep mashing with my axe, my Leviathan axe, or in Uncharted I just keep punching, or in Uncharted, like just any game you play, if I get hit, it doesn't really matter. Whereas you get hit in this game, you're fucking dead. In my brain, I don't know whether it's muscle memory or patience or just sheer timing ability, but those parry windows, they are short. And I'm playing via cloud as well, so I don't know if there is I'm going to play it on my console just to see if there is that like fractional latency thing, which is really critical to these type of games.
I think,
but I'm enjoying it. But I'm frustrated.
It might have been Tales of Arise, where there was one I was playing via like remote play actually at the time, and I think there was one bloody fishing in mini game I couldn't do until I switched over to playing locally. And I had to do the thing. I did the thing where I stood like quite close, stood up in front of the telly to go, right, I need to absolutely be on this to do it.
Press.
Yeah,
I get that. But again, that's the annoying thing, is like I'm enjoying the game and I want to explore more of the story because I know the story is right up my street. I just need to get past this first damn boss somehow. And I said it on tomorrow's podcast talking to PS, but like the nearest thing I've got to relate to this is Kena Bridge of Spirits. I've got the Platinum Trophy on that game, which I know it's not the same, but to get that Platinum Trophy, you need to finish that game on the hardest difficulty. And it has a parry system, it has spells, it has arrows and stuff, and it's very, very similar, although it's a very cartoony animated style. It's grinding it, and I died a lot of times in that game as well, but I kept going and I did it. And part of me is like, if I can just get past Zhang Liang, God knows how hard Zhang Liao's got. There's 3 brothers essentially, part of the Yellow Turban Rebellion, and I don't know why, because I've played the Dynasty Warriors games, it's like these like guys are literally the first level bosses who you just kick their ass and you move on and you learn from it. This is a different type of game. And again, comments, let me know if you got any pro strat tips. I know our Discord really, really helped me out. The live chat when the video got published, loads of tips. I'm sure to take them all on board. But will I do it? I don't know. I'm very intrigued to see Rob's take on this, because again, Rob's coming from the same part as me. I don't know if he's got the patience. Rob's a big Chivalry fan, so he likes apparently playing really hard games.
But Chivalry is hard in a different way, though. That's hard because it's an online multiplayer game, so you're playing against other people.
Okay, maybe dealing with patience and frustration then. Rob's different from that approach, whereas I'm just like, I'm out. So who knows?
Yeah.
But it's reviewing well. The game, game is good.
It is. As it stands, it's like 81 Metacritic, 8.9 user score on the Xbox. Interestingly, that drops to 7.5 on PlayStation. But there seems to be a bit of review bombing going on PlayStation.
Free on Xbox.
Yeah, on PlayStation
Game
there
Pass
seems to be a
boost.
lot more negative reviews. Like people are complaining that the bad game design top of the game is supposed to be different. It's like a lot of people like complain about the difficulty and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And these a lot of people, for some reason, when I read some of like user reviews on Metacritic, will kind of actually write up a decent review and they just give it a 0 because they haven't been bothered to put a number on it, which is like, come on, guys. If you're going to put a review on Metacritic, you got to actually pick a number, otherwise it can damage the score unfairly.
Yeah, there is something to be said about these type of games and why the likes of you and me have avoided Elden Ring for so long and Dark Souls and stuff. And there was part of me during the first look, I was like, I would love to just go into the options, have a difficulty slider just to knock it down a peg just for this boss and then move on. Because again, it's if I bought this game, if I'm playing this game, and because of the difficulty, nothing to do with the story, nothing to do with the characters, nothing to do with the gameplay as such, I can only experience the first 5% of this game. You know what I mean? I'm like, I'm missing out because of something that's seemingly out of my control. Of an entire video game that you've potentially bought for $50, $60 I'm limited to essentially playing the free demo because I can't get past the boss. There's no way to circumnavigate this boss without beating him. Yeah,
we're going into the realms of like accessibility and the whole conversation around difficult games being difficult, and that balance between, okay, this is designed to be a hard, punishing fight so that you will get that kind of a sense of achievement when you do it, but then it is also locks people out who are maybe not have the time to develop that skill, or maybe just slow reaction time, slow because we're old men and we don't have hundreds of hours to dedicate every week into playing games, into mastering the combat of a game. That's the kind of thing for me. I get frustrated, same as you, when I have to keep repeating the same fight over and over and over again because I want to experience the story and everything the game has to offer. And I feel like, well, I'm now just going through the same thing again and again and again when I could be doing something else with my limited time.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't get a book and read chapter 1 100 times.
Oh, well, you have to read chapter 1 properly, Chris. You have to master chapter 1 before you're allowed to move on to chapter 2.
You need to memorise chapter 1, every word in your head. But yeah, there is an accessibility thing because I really think if I could just get past this boss, the rest of the game I'll thoroughly enjoy. And I think the fact that because it's so early in the game, there is no options for levelling up. There's no options to go get better gear because you are beholden to the tutorial area, essentially. So it is just basically get good. And I'm trying, everyone. 2.5, 3 hours of my life trying to get good to beat Zhang Liang. And again, I have a kid on the way on Friday.
I'm not one.
I don't know if I'll ever come back to it if I can't get past him.
I couldn't spend an hour just grinding out the same fight. I'd be like, I'm moving on. I might go back to it. Like the reason, I don't have the platinum in Stray because there's one bloody achievement I couldn't get. No matter, I kept trying to grind. I kept going back to it. I just couldn't seem to get it down. So I just eventually give up. And it's just
it does risk leaving a sour taste, doesn't it?
It did a bit because I would love to have the platinum for Stray, but I was like, I'm not.
Which trophy was it again?
It was the one where you had to get through run that gauntlet with all the little things.
Without being jumped on,
and you make one mistake and that's it.
Yeah, restart.
Yeah.
The game's doing well, of course. I do feel like maybe doing it on stream live with maybe you for moral support.
Yeah.
Just to give a second, some eyes on it when you're caught up in the moment, you can't see the parry window maybe. I can't see the intricate... Because there's a stamina bar that goes back and I have no clue what it really means. They're like, the chi of the battle goes back and forth depending on how many blocks and parries you get in. But in the moment, I'm just focused on not getting my ass handed to me. So I'm not looking at the coloured bars, and when he glows red, I don't know what window of red I'm looking for to parry, and you just kind of get caught up in the moment, and then I just default to mashing X, hit him, and then it's like, I've been hit again, there's my health. Then my own morale goes, and I'm like, well, I've got no health potions, so just kill me now and I'll restart again.
You need to relearn how to play games, basically.
Yeah, I'll say, and maybe I am just too old for it, but
I don't think you're too old.
I'm sure.
I think you'll get there if you commit. If you're willing to commit, I think you'll get there. And by the sounds of it, I almost think you should. If you think if I can get past this one boss and the rest of the game, I'm going to really enjoy. It's probably worth just getting there because you'll get good by just repeating the fighting over and over again, and then Don't know whether when it comes to the second boss, when it comes to the next like that kind of gameplay loop, whether you'd enjoy it anymore though.
Yeah, if I get this, well, the second one's apparently easier. So if I get the second one, like, I hand his ass to him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, I did it. I'm better. Maybe I've got good. And then I get to the next bit.
Yeah, you know, instead of doing like taking 20 goals, it takes like 3. It's like, nailed it.
Yeah, absolutely. But no doubt we'll hear more about it. I'm glad the game's doing well because seemingly these are the style of games, and for people to experience, if they can get past the first boss, the story of the Romance of the Three Kingdoms is fantastic. If you've never played a Dynasty Warriors game, this is a version of that.
Yeah.
And, yeah. But it did make me want to just play Dynasty Warriors because I know I can hand their ass to them. I literally kill millions of people in that game. And when you're nearly dead, guess what? You've got your special to use. And you just wipe them all out with a special. Not so much in this one.
You know what? I was actually going to play it right until I saw your first look and went, I don't think I'm going to enjoy this.
I'd actually like to see your first look myself, just to see how you would approach it. Almost like the dichotomy of you versus me and how we both would approach it from similar experience standpoints.
You know,
and almost there's a sick part of me which almost wants to see you suffer through it.
If I find the time and the inclination at some point, I might do like a first look and just put it up for the channel for members. So you get a second first look on the same game. It's world exclusive there. 2 first looks in the same game.
Absolutely.
Has it ever happened before?
I mean, someone, surely. But that this game, the fact that this game can also be played with touch controls is beyond me. Whoever completes this game using touch input on their mobile phone, they deserve like shares in the company or access the keys to the development studio, because that must be like one of those. You know, the person who completed Elden Ring with using a dance mat.
Yeah.
This is like the type of levels of craziness, like how you could deflect, block, and parry using a touchscreen phone version. Beyond me. Unbelievable skill required.
I wouldn't even consider using like touchscreen controls for most games, because I think touchscreen controls are horrible unless the game is specifically designed for it. I usually just generally go, this is crap, give me a controller. But I'm not everyone. Anyway, moving on to another actual difficult game, Sifu. So last year Sifu came to PlayStation, done really well in the Game of the Year conversations.
Yep. Best fighting game for I think a lot of categories.
Yep, very unique. It's coming to Xbox.
Hey, timed exclusive.
PlayStation, and it's coming this month, March the 28th. It drops on Xbox. No word on whether it's coming to Game Pass or not. But any thoughts on Sifu, Chris?
Kind of a similar thing where I've heard it's hard. And the whole premise of Sifu, for those who haven't seen it yet, it's kind of like a 3D fighting game. Very like, if you've ever seen John Wick, it's kind of that style of like martial arts, really quick close-up action. But the unique twist on Sifu is your character, if you die, you age. And the older you get, the slower you get. As I've just explained for 20 minutes talking about Wo Long Fallen Dynasty. It kind of has this thing
where you start off quite young, so as you get a bit older, you actually get better, and then you fall away again. Like, as life doesn't... Anyway.
Yeah. There's a risk-reward of if you die or you lose, you get older and older, and your character starts to age as the story progresses. And I know there's achievements linked to, like, finishing the story before you reach, like, 50-year-old or something like that. But, yeah, it's very, again, punch-and-fight mechanics, loads of enemy varieties, loads of, like, nice little arenas as you work your way through a couple of different unique settings. And yeah, it looks fun again, in for a lot of Game of the Year conversations for a lot of outlets, and it was on PlayStation, now it's coming. Would be a perfect Game Pass game, if I'm honest. I don't know how many people are going to go out and buy this a year later, but it's nice to see it making the jump across.
I think it could do well in sales because it was so like revered on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. If you only have an Xbox and you keep hearing about this game, go, you know, that's right up my alley.
Mm-hmm.
I could see it doing well, but I think it would be great in Game Pass, to be honest. It gets it in more hands.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's just generally seems to be like an 8 out of 10 game. Some people love it, some people seemingly don't. Yeah, I think it is a bit of a Marmite game. Either you're going to love it or you're not.
Yeah, absolutely. It's coming to Switch as well, I think.
Yeah. I'm at this point with Switch where I look at Sifu, I was like, would Switch be able to run it? It probably will.
Yeah. 6-year-old this past week, the Switch.
I know.
Happy birthday.
It's a great console. It just feels old. It feels older than 6, to be honest.
Don't we all?
Yeah. Well,
what's the Switch in human years? Like 84.
Something like that. But if it comes to Game Pass, will you be jumping in?
I'll try it out. Evidently, I might be better at Sifu than Wo Long, so
yeah.
What have I got to lose?
It still has a kind of repetitiveness to it where you have to just keep playing through. That's the stuff I just don't like. It's like you have to keep playing through the same stuff over and over again. Where Sifu, it's all about getting the mechanics down, isn't it? Getting that perfect run. But you know what isn't about getting the perfect run? Minecraft.
Minecraft.
Weirdest segue ever, but looks like Minecraft might be getting a world editor. Which
I would say finally, but it is in itself a world editor.
Yeah,
right?
that was kind of my thoughts, but this looks like it's going to be like almost like what the devs would use to build the world kind of stuff, rather than you're in the world, start mining blocks. You could just... So I can imagine from the creative types. I mean, we've seen some of the most creative, stunning stuff work in Minecraft anyway. Mm-hmm. But now it just feels like you might be getting another level of like basically another tool set, which might in some ways it'll make like making massive like structures and like new worlds so much easier, so we could see like a resurgence and that sort of stuff. But does it in some ways take away the achievement?
Yeah, it's almost like when you go into creation mode in Minecraft already, and you can do stuff without the limitations of like harvesting resources and doing it that way. It seems like it's that one step further when you have access to like the voxels and stuff to essentially control all elements of the game. Similar to when we played Creator back in the day.
Yeah.
Tom gave us like a full, rest in peace. Tom gave us a full kind of breakdown of voxels and animation and how it works, and how basically almost like coding a game one step up from the actual code.
Yeah.
And you know what, Minecraft is so popular, and I'm surprised it's took this point for them to almost like opening the game up as open source, when anyone can go and you can just do what you want. The only thing I think they've said you doesn't look like you can edit is the bedrock, which is just the base of the map. So that's not anything shocking, but all the key creator codes in there, snippets of the listings. Minecraft again, just it's the gift that keeps on giving with when it comes to creativity and expansion. Yeah,
it's weird. We actually have another expansion coming later this year called Trails and Tales. So they're doing another full expansion. Do you think this could come alongside that, or do you think
would
this
imagine
is
so.
Just something separate?
It's very niche. Like, people who play Minecraft are happy to live in that Minecraft world because of what it is. I put many, many hours into Minecraft, more so on my PlayStation Vita, because having it portable on the go was great.
I can see
that. I think if I was to play it now, I would actually delve into it back again on the Switch, just because of that. Just when you got spare 20 minutes, chip away at a couple of blocks, do some resource gathering, and then build something on the move.
One of your phones? Go Game Pass?
It doesn't run as well on... I mean, to be fair, I used it touchscreen because Minecraft is available from the App Store as well. So there is a mobile version. Yeah, true. That's true. The Switch is its all round.
Use Game Pass and Nikishi.
Yeah. I think I do own it on the Switch though already.
Oh.
But in terms of the game, I'm in Minecraft just to enjoy the game for what it is, which is like a simplistic block building, gathering resource, avoid the skeletons and the zombies. I'm
very much in the camp of I appreciate other people playing Minecraft, but I'm not really drawn myself. But maybe one day we'll do a stream where we build a house or something.
Yeah, be fun. Yeah. It's a fun game. Yeah.
Now, I think that would be a cool community like stream where we'll just, for the next few hours, what we're going to do is we're just going, everyone dive in. We're playing Minecraft. Let's see what we make.
And it's super chill as well. The music can almost put you to sleep sometimes with its zen atmosphere.
Yeah.
And survive.
But moving on to our next story, 50 Cent has teased Vice City. So, talking Grand Theft Auto, Chris. First of all, your background with Vice City.
My favourite Grand Theft Auto game.
Correct. You are right in that.
Correct, yeah. The music, the world, the simplicity of it. Again, just when it initially came out back on the PS2, just me and my brother just put so much time into this game and messing around, doing the missions, great story, great, Tommy Vercetti, all that kind of stuff. best time. Again, the later Grand Theft Autos obviously did a lot of things better. But yeah, you tell me a bit of Michael Jackson, Phil Collins as a character, Samuel Jackson in the game. Samuel Jackson was in that San Andreas, wasn't he? Great. So great game.
The story is 50 Cent posted on Instagram an image of a neon pink Vice City logo with the caption, "I will explain this later. This shit is bigger than power, trust me."
It's also since been taken down from his page.
Oh yeah, because he probably didn't. If he is involved in a new Grand Theft Auto Vice City game, then absolutely Rockstar taking that down.
Yeah, for like, dude, don't give it away. Don't give it away. But yeah, if they went back with like modern style, like again, the general consensus for Grand Theft Auto is they think they're going to make all the world. So you're going to have San Andreas, Vice City, and Liberty City all accessible in one massive open map because they don't want GTA Online to die. They want it to kind of just keep existing in perpetuity.
Do you think like Grand Theft Auto 6 might just be Grand Theft Auto and be like, this is now the base of where we're going to take it going forward?
I think that's what Rockstar would like, and then Vice City could be like a season of Grand Theft Auto, and then Liberty City could be another season, and then San Andreas could be the next season, and then they can just keep adding to that world. But anyone who loves online and plays online, the world's there in all its glory on next-gen hardware.
I almost think it'd be like something like The Crew, where like you can just, okay, we're just going to add another region to the map, and now you can travel to this region, and then you slowly build out the world.
And that's almost Grand Theft Auto to a nail, because in Vice City, in the original, remember Grand Theft Auto 3, you couldn't go across the bridge until it was opened up to you. Otherwise, you get 5-star wanted level. So yeah, they could do that. I'm sure Rockstar have had grand designs for years now, and it's been so long. So long since GTA 5 came out. It's
the success of Grand Theft Auto Online is probably what's pushed this back and kept pushing things back. My only issue with having this like constant world Grand Theft Auto is you're stuck in the time period.
Yeah.
So when I think Vice City, it's not the city of Vice City that makes that game. It's the era it's set in and everything around it. Yeah, that 80s, like, in the music and like everything's neon like that. But if you do like a modern Vice City, does that work as well? I'd almost like to see like a Vice City 2, but set in the 90s.
Yeah, well, this is like, where they could do something with like flashbacks. Like you do something in the modern world, but it has flashbacks to old world. But I don't know what the plans are. I just want to see it. Basically, it's been that damn long. I just want to know what's next. I
always thought with Vice City, like a sequel to Vice City set like maybe like 10 years after, and like so set in the 90s, so you going for the music and the culture of that time period. Tommy Vercetti's still in it, but he's now like the crime boss of Vice City.
Talk?
Yeah, he'll talk this time, because I don't think he'd be the guy you're playing. I think maybe he's like either you're working with him or he's the main antagonist, or he will be heavily involved. But yeah, like probably basically you could make like the story about his fall, where like the story of Vice City is kind of his rise to prominence. This could be his fall, but it's like, yeah, you've had 10 years at the top. But I think there could be something really cool there. But apparently 50 Cent's involved by the looks of it, and whatever it's going to be. So moving on now to Star Wars, because we all like a bit of Star Wars.
We do.
Not much of a story here, but Star Wars Jedi Survivor's director has said he wants to make Cal's story a trilogy.
Yeah, it was during an interview with IGN, I believe. He does if you go watch it, it's Ryan McCaffrey does an IGN Unfiltered interview where they basically just talk about game development, the pandemic, what happens when the game gets greenlit, like how quickly did the sequel get greenlit, and other factors that play into it. And one of the things he mentioned, the game director, was basically he's kind of sees it as a 3-story arc, and he would like it to be a 3-story arc. And I'm sure EA and all the gamers out there will be over the moon to learn that this is probably proposed as a 3-story arc, because that inevitably means we're getting a third entry. Got Jedi Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, and then no doubt Jedi Redemption or Jedi, whatever it may be, the third in the series. they know they've got something good on their hands. It, of course, is Respawn. It's kind of elevated EA to kind of refocus their energies. And I would say, we've said many times on the show, Richie, that EA is seemingly the best at third-party juggling right now, with Ubisoft struggling, Activision struggling with whatever they're going through.
They've definitely gone through a redemption arc.
Yeah, completely. A Jedi redemption arc, some would say. But I can't wait for Jedi Survivor. It's my most anticipated game of the year so far. I can't wait to get my hands on it. I was actually tempted to go back to Jedi Fallen Order again this week, because I've been watching Bad Batch on Disney Plus, and The Mandalorian just started this week, so that the rise of Star Wars interest is definitely at an all-time high right now.
How is The Mandalorian, actually? I haven't watched it yet.
It's only one episode, so it's all we've basically got is just the reset up of where he's at, what's going on in the world, and a couple of breadcrumbs of what the side quests of this series are essentially going to be.
Yeah, I just have no kind of like hype for this season at all.
Did you watch the Book of Boba Fett?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you know those things.
I'm up to date. I haven't watched Bad Batch and don't really intend to be honest.
Mm-hmm. It's not like necessary for this or anything.
Yeah, and I was just like, I don't know what it is. It's The Mandalorian. It's like almost seemed like, oh yeah, and The Mandalorian's here. It's like this is how the season feels. Just like there's very little like marketing or anything. It's like I don't feel invested in it at the moment. Like, but there again, I've had stuff like that before where as the season went on, people were talking about it, like, guys, this is really good. And I was like, then okay, I'll jump in.
Well, you just wait, Richie, until Cal Kestis appears in episode 7 of The Mandalorian. Everyone flips out because he'll be in the show, and then the game will come out mere weeks later when the season finishes, and everyone will be like, oh shit, that Jedi who appeared in The Mandalorian, there's a game about him that comes out next week. Boom. Synergy.
You know what? I was a bit like that with like Andor, where like it took me, I think it was like a month after the first like episode dropped, where I was like, now I'm in. I tried watching it a couple of times, just I'm not feeling it. So it might just be that for me as well. It might just be because I'm watching The Last of Us, so it's like, well, once The Last of Us is gone, I'll have that gap back in my entertainment like time frame. It's like, well, maybe that's when I'll start watching The Mandalorian. But I don't currently have Disney Plus though, so
there you go. But no surprise then. Trilogy of games. I think that's always like the game 3 is the magic number after all. They're going to do a lot of stuff, I think, to elevate the gameplay mechanics. As the director says in the interview, he's like already talking about what they can improve on, and they knew when they shipped the game that there was a couple of things they want to rework. I think the map was a big bugbear for some people, the fast travel, and he explains, I think in the interview, the director actually goes in depth about saying when they were so far incubated making the game, they didn't realise fast travel would be a problem or a bugbear with the first game because they were so insular in development. They were just thinking like, oh, it's a Metroidvania, people can back travel, and then they didn't realise there was going to be any frustrations from that. And then obviously when the game was released to the wider public and millions of people got their hands on it, it was kind of highlighted that was one of the issues. So they've resolved that, and I think this sequel will very much just elevate everything that was great about the first one.
Yeah.
And if it has any of the story beats that we got from the first one, and if it does tie in with all Star Wars canon, then I've got very high hopes for this game.
Same. Very high hopes for it. I hope we're not overselling it, our expectations.
No, I've got reservations about it. Like, I'm not expecting it to be a God of War levels of like storytelling and stuff. I very much have my expectations in check for what it does. I just think a couple of cool Easter eggs, tie it in with the wider Star Wars world, give me the same cool lightsaber mechanics, because that's what I'm in it for, basically being a badass Jedi. Yeah. And I do hope they really elevate like their team, because what I think the first game did is we had Greasy Money, baby, and we had his wider squad. Give me maybe a new character and really do what Uncharted does and make me fall in love with their team rather than just Cal. And if they can do it where, like, if something happens to one of them and I'm like, oh, like, it hits me, like Sully and Uncharted, something happened to him or Elena or something, like, make me feel for these characters rather than them just be cogs in a machine. And I think if they can tell a story like that rich, which Star Wars has always been about the characters, I think, they could be onto something. And again, Respawn knocking it out of the park with anything they touch at the moment, so have at it. Not long to wait.
This is definitely probably going to be, I think, in the Game of the Year conversation. That's
my
expectation to this game.
the first one missed out because it came out in November.
Yeah.
So it was almost like too late to get. I think we actually criticised it on the Game Awards because they missed out on the cut-off point date to be nominated.
Missed out on the cut-off point, but then it's like basically an entire year from the next year's one.
Yeah, because it was 2019 and then COVID hit as well. We've got to remember that.
Yeah.
And then, like you said, all the games that release in 2020 get all the praise and glory because they're just the recency bias. And I think Jedi Fallen got like one award for maybe like art design or sound or something like that. Whereas if it was in the 2019 Game of the Year discussion, it would have been right up there, no doubt. So this one coming out in April, much better window. And yeah, I think by the end of the year we'll be sat back, Richie. We'll be talking about Jedi Survivor, Wo Long Fallen Dynasty, the new Zelda game, whatever else is on the dock.
Hopefully,
good year for games.
Hogwarts Legacy.
Hogwarts Legacy, yeah, of course. A lot of stuff. It's going to be a good year for games.
Right. But you know what I don't think we'll be talking about? Scars Above.
Ooh.
Reviews are out and they're kind of mixed.
I forgot this game came out, to be fair.
Yeah, me too. I think that's kind of problematic in itself. But like IGN give this a 5 out of 10. Scars Above shows a lot of potential in its third-person shooting, fun elemental reactions, and a good number of creatures to experiment with. The thrill of setting out to discover a new alien world is short-lived, however, due to the weapons and gadgets in the arsenal quickly growing so powerful that nothing poses a threat. And while there are a few excellent environments to explore everything within them, the characters, the story, and the universe feel weak and underdeveloped, giving you a few reasons to stop and smell the alien roses once you've blasted your way through.
So another middle of the road one by the looks of it. It has garnered some sevens and 8s out of 10s from other sites. So it doesn't look like, again, it doesn't look like it's a bad game. It just in the sea of great games we've currently got right now, it seemingly is sinking to the bottom of the pile. And again, not in Game Pass, not on PlayStation Plus or anything like this. So this is a game you'd have to actively go out and purchase. And I think for me, this game's got big Chorus vibes from the other year, when it's basically like, it looks great, it looks polished, it's sci-fi, it just isn't doing enough to get people to pay it any attention. And like reading some of the other reviews, it says, great addition to the library of single-player adventures, tells an engaging sci-fi story that interrogates ideas of genetic manipulation, free will, and sacrifice. While it loses momentum towards the end, it serves as a fantastic advertisement for smaller budget games, and it's well worth picking up. So some of the praise is coming from it. Again, it looked, when we watched the Embrace the State of Play video, what was it, the Koch Media thing? It was the one shining light of that whole presentation where you and me thought, oh, actually,
there's something
this
here.
Looks like Division meets Returnal kind of thing. But it almost fell into a too generic for its own good kind of camp. But this is one that I probably would enjoy, and I'd be able to defeat the first boss because it's not Wo Long.
But this is why I kind of wanted to bring it up, because this was very much our pick of the bunch from that presentation. And I felt like, okay, is this going to be that game that kind of steps him up a bit from this like AA focused publishing? Now we look at like Embrace as like that feels like they're on the verge of stepping up into the AAA like properly. But then it just feels like across the board hasn't landed as well as they probably would have liked, unfortunately.
So it's at 69 on Metacritic,
which is not bad.
No, not at all.
But is it good enough? Like in the world where we get lots, like 8s and 9s are quite abundant.
Well, hopefully, because you'd imagine it's made with it being published by Prime Matter, and I think it's Mad Head Games, who make it. Hopefully, it comes in on such a low budget that actually it'll do well enough to merit a sequel. Because again, there's nothing about this that doesn't think you could take what clearly gets some good reviews, 7s and 10s. It does say like great sci-fi edition for single player adventures. It's got interesting ideas that maybe runs out of steam a bit towards the end. That sounds like the foundation's there to potentially like make a better sequel. That would garner my interest. I do worry though, we've said it time and time again on the show, but the Game Pass swell and success, will games like this, if it's not on Game Pass, are they totally overlooked? Like when people look at something like this and go, would I want to pay 40, £50 for this? or if it was on... Because I would have played this if it was on Game Pass, but I haven't looked twice at it because I don't want to pay money for it. Because it's not selling me on that AAA quality. That doesn't mean it's a bad game.
Between Game Pass and PlayStation Plus, I have so many games that I haven't played. Many of them are kind of reviewing in the 7s and 8s. So when something comes in beneath that, like Metacritic 72, which is a perfectly solid game, I'd probably, like you, if I was playing it, I'd probably enjoy my time. But some game in that, when they tend to rate in the 7s, I always think, when I'm playing, I always have the sense like I could be playing something better and I have things better access to. Where if this was on Game Pass, I'd be more likely to give it a go. So it's like, it is that kind of double-edged sword with Game Pass, where I think, because it's not on Game Pass, I'm not considering it.
Is Game Pass starting to be detrimental to anyone not on the Game Pass train?
I think
if you're a developer, like if you're the Scars Above team, do you look at this and go like, Xbox didn't reach out to us regarding a Game Pass deal, therefore we've got to self-publish, we've got to promote this. To its credit, it is on Amazon right now. It's only $29.95.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's not too bad.
So it's not like a $50, $60, $70 price point, which I think will benefit it. If they're willing to go in with that price point, though, again, it's like, would I spend £30 on this when I've just got Wo Long for free?
Yeah.
Essentially. And that's getting 8s and 9s, 10 out of 10s all over the place. Even if I can't get past the first boss.
That's the thing, yeah. It's like...
But it's, again, the whole games industry with Game Pass and AA, AAA, and the rise of, again, AA games, like, I hope it does well. Like, I'm looking at it, and like, the more I look at it, the more I'm reminded of, you know what? If I can't defeat Zhang Liang, and I have some time... Is this worth a £29 pop, potentially?
30 quid, absolutely. I think it's probably going to be worth it. Now, the thing for me is that when going back to Game Passes, I think you're right. I think Game Pass is detrimental to games that aren't on it if they're not the absolute pinnacle of gaming.
Mm-hmm.
Something like God of War is going to sell well, regardless. Well, it did. Like
12+ million copies already.
Jedi Survivor is going to sell fine. Hogwarts Legacy is already sold fine. These games don't need to be on Game Pass to sell well. Something like Scars Above, in order to get enough people playing it, probably does need to be there nowadays. Or at least from talking purely from the Xbox side of things.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like, how many people are picking this up on PlayStation? Like, is there enough people actually picking it up, or is this kind of one of them things where people look and go, you know what, it looks cool, I'll wait for PlayStation Plus?
Yeah. Again, hopefully the budget is detrimental. It reminds me of Control. Control was made by Remedy over 3 years with a budget of only 30 million.
Yeah.
Which is like so much lower than typical AAA. You're talking like a Sony first party exclusive probably cost between 300 to 500 million to make. So if you can make it with the budget of Control, if Scars Above cost less than 30 million to make, and if they're selling the game at a price point of 30 quid, then clearly they understand their overheads aren't as crazy to make some profit off of it. And if it's not on Game Pass, then you'd like to think that window is smaller. So hopefully even on a modest budget, it'll turn it around. But yeah, there is something I think long term with Game Pass and subscription models that we're going to see a drastic change going forward with just sales and revenue splits and how they're split up between publishers and game devs. But
Game Pass,
crazy times.
It's changing the industry, and not everything. While I am pretty much enamored by Game Pass and what it does for me as a consumer, there is negative sides of it, and I think some games that may just not find a home that they might have once did. Like,
absolutely.
But I think that is all we have time for this week. If you've liked the video, make sure you hit that like button and consider becoming a member for as little as 99 pence. We have a Discord server where you can tell Chris how bad he is at Wo Long. Links are in the description below. Have you beat the first boss yet, Chris?
No, I haven't. But you'd asked me at the start of the show, Richie, do I like toast?
Oh, yeah, of course, yes. There we have. One more story before I go to the outro. I almost forgot. It's the biggest story of the decade. Chris, do you like toast?
I do like toast.
Yeah, who doesn't? But I actually don't have a toaster. Did you know that?
No. I mean, I do now.
Well, you do now because I told our Discord server.
Some controversy in our Discord server.
Would you want a Series S toaster?
No.
Me
I don't want a toaster. I don't want a hoodie for my controller. I kind of want the fridge, if I'm honest. But yeah, Xbox, apparently Microsoft, they want Xbox brand to be everywhere. Switch, PlayStation, PC, mobile, and also your kitchen and your bedroom and your wardrobe and your car. It's just the marketing machine for Xbox knows no bounds.
I just don't even get it. Like,
it's because it's a rectangle. It's a rectangle, therefore it can be a fridge, an oven, a toaster,
so
a table.
I have some specs for you.
Oh, sweet.
It's
Lay it on me.
Power is 120 volt, 60 hertz, 800 watts. It's a 2-slice toaster, with 40 millimeter side slots, suitable for 120 by 120 millimeter bread.
Industry standard, yeah.
1 to 6 browning settings, an anti-jam function if you're more of a marmalade person, an anti-slip feet. Anti-slip feet is a feature.
My toaster, quite frankly, is all over the place in the kitchen. I can't keep track of it because it doesn't have anti-slip feet.
I've been sat in your kitchen and just at the table and it just went flying across the room. It's just that slippy.
Removable crumb tray.
It does.
Shout out to that. That's better than DLC. That is.
It has defrost bagel buttons, cancel buttons. Right, Chris, do you use the browning setting on your toaster?
I mean, no. Once I decided I got my right setting, it's been left like that for years.
Well, I've just, I have owned toasters in the past. I always just use the cancel. I just use the cancel button.
You just monitor your toast. You mean?
It doesn't
like
take
until
that,
it's ready.
Let's be fair. How long does it take to make toast? I'm not going for a walk. I'm not putting it in and going
I'm
off
doing
somewhere.
other things. I'm making cups of tea and stuff, getting the butter out the fridge.
Yeah, but I'm in the vicinity, so it's like I'm not leaving the kitchen when I'm making my toast.
That sounds risky. You're
just
the type of
hit the
person in a hotel who puts their toast back on the toast ring. And then it gets cremated on its second time. You know, the big industrial ones they have at hotels for buffets. And there's always some idiot who's like, oh, that's not quite brown enough. I'll put it back in, not thinking that it's almost on that episode of Friends when Ross gets fake
quick.
tan.
Yeah.
2, I'm 4, I'm an 8. Like, that's what you're doing to your toast. Stop it in hotels. Put it through once, leave it be.
Yeah, I can only get quite lightly brown, so I don't trust the settings. I just go pop.
Okay, that's fair. But yeah, shout out to the Series S toaster, I guess. Yeah. Pair it with your Xbox Series X fridge.
I mean, it does have the weird grill thing on the side.
It does?
It's probably not functional, but it's there.
No, definitely not.
But this time, that's all we have time for you this week. If you like toast, let us know in the comments below, and you can join our Discord server and like the video, subscribe to the channel, all your podcast feeds, all that's great stuff. I've already kind of done the outro once. Thank you very much for watching. My name's been Richie.
I've been Chris.
Don't burn your toast. Goodbye.